welcome back to another video. This is going to be the official Indomitable Paladins console in-depth tier list for the current Paladins update. I know it's been a while since I did last tier list. If you guys missed that one, I will link it at the end of this video. Before I do get into this, please, if you guys want me to continue doing these tier lists, I know you guys love these types of videos. Let's see if we can get this video to 25 likes within the first 72 hours. Really appreciate it. It means the world to me, guys. And for some reason, I don't know why, like 95% of you guys that usually do catch my tier list are not subscribed to the channel. So if you are a new viewer and this is your first time finding my videos or my channel, it only takes like 1 or 2 seconds. Go down below. There's a big red button that says subscribe. Click that button so you're subscribed to my channel and you do not miss any of my videos. I also do stream Paladins Ranked. I stream Smite. I stream Apex Legends, Overwatch. I stream at least 2 to 3 times a week, usually Fridays and Saturday nights, and sometimes Wednesday nights. So if you guys do not want to miss my streams, and even possibly be in some of my future videos, if you're there during a stream, please subscribe and turn the bell notification on if you are new, as well as sharing the video. Really helps me out as we're on our way to 500 subscribers. Really appreciate it, guys. Just helps out the channel and it makes a world of a difference. Apart from that, keep in mind that this is a console tier list. I play on Switch. I'm a Switch player. I've been playing for about 3 years now. 4,600 hours into the game now. If you guys do know any guys that are already here and already following my channel, you guys catching my streams, I am a consistent diamond to like mid-diamond, high-tier diamond type player. This tier list is going to be anywhere from gold 3 all the way up to your mid-diamond games. Does not mean this will not apply to PC, but keep in mind it's just mainly a console tier list because I play on Switch and I play on console, and I don't play on PC. And also keep in mind this is 100% opinionated, so meaning if you do not agree with me on something or there's something that I do not explain fully and in-depth enough, and you guys want more explanation, let me know in the comments down below. I respond to like all my comments, so even stuff, other stuff, if you guys want to talk to me in the comments, I respond to everything. Unless you're like, if it's somebody that's like a bot or something, then I won't. But got the list pretty much the same as last time. SS is going to be your top tier stuff that's going to need to be nerfed, or you're going to be banning or picking it every game. S is going to be your top stuff. You're going to be picking it the majority of your games, if not all your games. A plus above average, A is your average, B is your below average picks, C is your very situational stuff, and F is your doo-doo tier, garbage that you're never ever going to be picking unless you're trolling and throwing games and you want to get your account banned. Apart from that, I was also actually going to try getting you guys some game event pass codes to give out to you guys, but Romanova for some reason doesn't want to respond to me. I have not been able to get in contact with her to get some free codes for you guys to give away on the channel. So if you guys want to go hound Romanova on Twitter or on Discord or wherever and tell her that I'm looking for some free game event pass codes for the game to give away to you guys on the channel because she has not responded to me any of my DMs or any of my tweets, then by all means go harass her on Twitter for some free codes, please, in my favor, so I can give some free event pass codes out to you guys. I was going to give some out during this video, but she never responded, so I just wanted to say that because I was going to actually try giving away some codes. So apart from that, we're going to get right into this. The main things of this patch, we got a new champion, which I'll be talking about in this video in like about a minute. Jagaris in ranked now. Apart from that, we really don't have too much balance changes, but we do have some stuff that's changed that I do want to talk about. If anybody wants to do timestamps in the comments down below, I will pin your comment and I will favorite your comment. If one brave soul wants to do some timestamps for all of us, that'd be really great, and I really appreciate that as well. Apart from that, we're going to get right into this. Octavia, brand new champion. Let's talk about her. I'm level 25 with Octavia now. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I think Octavia does not bring anything new to the game that we already did not have in the game. If you guys do not know, she is a mid-range damage dealer. She is a damage champion, and that is what she is. Her long-range damage is trash. You're doing like 100 to 200 damage at long range, and your close-range damage right up in somebody's face or right in front of you is garbage because your gun has such a bad spread and you do so little damage, and it's so inaccurate. The problem she has is she gets dove by pretty much almost everything, and she has really bad survivability up at close range. Her medium range damage is where she excels. She is, like I said, she is one of the better mid-range damage champions, and then she has okay poke at range. If you dump like 1 or 2 entire clips into somebody at long range, and they're stupid enough to just stand there and take it, then she's good at long range. Apart from that, you're just better off picking something like a Strix or like a Canessa or like something else that can play and do better damage at long range. But if you're looking for a solid damage champion that is a mid-range damage champion, the only thing that makes her different from any of the other ones in the game, Tyra, Victor, Vivian, Tiberius to an extent, even though he doesn't really have any damage fall off, stuff like that, at medium range, the only thing that separates her from them is having a passive. Her passive is the only thing that separates her from any of the other mid-range damage champions in the game right now. Which is kind of unfortunate because you really want a new champion if you're going to be bringing a new champion to the game, to bring something new to the game entirely, not just be kind of the same thing that you already have with like one new aspect. The one thing she has going for her over those champions is her passive. Being able to give your entire team a Chronos 1 10% CDR out of spawn is insanely good. What is there? A 500 health shield, which usually is not really usable in ranked or siege in general, mainly for your TDM games. That's the passive you're going to be choosing, so we're going to kind of cross that one out because it's not really viable in ranked. 100 credits every 6 eliminations or / kills your entire team gets as a team. Insane. Out of spawn, being able to stack credits, especially if your team steamrolls, gives you an insane advantage, especially mid to late game. I think that's one of the best passives she has, probably the best one. And then 15% all charge out of spawn, pretty much a morale boost. 1.5% morale boost out of spawn for your entire team is insane. 3 really solid passives, which is what makes her different from all the other mid-range damage champions in the game. Barring the shield one, which is insanely good in TDM, but apart from that, you're not really going to be using it out of like Onslaught, King of the Hill, or TDM. In Siege, it really doesn't do anything. That's what pretty much she is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, but at least for Octavia, I'm going to put her at an A+, just purely based off her passive alone. I don't think herself as a damage champion really offers anything new to the game that we don't already have. But also keep in mind that the 10% CDR and the 15% all charge does not affect you. It only affects your team. So that little bit of clarity for you guys. It only affects your team. It would be even more broken if it affected you. So the problem she does have as well is her mobility is kind of trash. Like, only way you're going to have at least decent mobility is if you run her jump strength card at 5 for her jump. Apart from that, at base, her mobility is garbage. I think the one thing she really does struggle with is she gets dove by pretty much everything. Andro, Maeve, like if you have a somewhat decent flank that's able to chase her down and close the gap and close the distance between her and mid-range, get right up in her face and kill her, she really can't do anything because her damage at close range is trash. She can't hit you because her spread is insanely bad, unless she shoots down scope and happens to land enough shots when you're right up in her face, which is extremely difficult to do. Or she has her jump and she tries hitting you in air, but even then she's extremely easy to kill because she's stationary. So I think she's a solid A+, just based off her passive alone. But apart from that, we're going to see how she goes. She's not in ranked, but if I were to put her in ranked right now, I'd put her at an A+. Apart from that, we're going to talk about Jagaris. Jagaris, now in ranked. Where am I going to put her, guys? I'm going to put her right at an A+. Definitely a lot less of a threat than I thought she was actually going to be. I really do. Like, the problem with Jagaris is you have to commit to playing with her. Like, you have to build an entire team around Jagaris to at least do anything. Like, I think just picking her as like a second to last or like a last pick and throwing her onto a team usually doesn't do anything for you. Like, at least, I kind of compare her to Rom, but at least Rom, when he's stationary and firing, he can at least move. Jagaris, you're in a sitting spot. You're legit a huge target that anybody lands shots on because you're staying in one place. Like, granted, you do have insane amounts of damage reduction and CC immunity to like 95% of the stuff in the game, and even with loadout cards, you have even more. She got nerfed out of the PTS for this update as well. They reduced her overall base health down to 6,000, I think it is now, or I think it was like something like 7,000, like down to 6,500 or like 6,000 now. And they reduced the health during her ult, I think down to like 2,500. And they reduced her ultimate refund rate if you miss your ult or your ult gets canceled or you get killed during your ult down to, I think it was 50% down to like 20%. So she got hit with some huge nerfs. I still think she can be good, but in the games I've seen her in, and at least what I've played, like, she takes so much resources to make her work. That's the problem with Jagaris. She takes so much healing, she takes so much space. Your team needs to make space for her as well. If you just go running into a backline versus like 5 people, you're going to be dead. You can't, just because you have like 7,000 health or whatever it is, you can't just go diving 3 people, even with the DR and even with being able to at least run on people and shit a bunch of damage in AoE. You still can't go diving 3 people. Like, I don't know. She's good at running down like flanks and DPS and supports mainly that have no mobility. If they have some type of mobility, like an Androxus, like a Mave, like a Buck, and they can just run away from you, then they're just going to run away from you anyways. So that's also the one drawback she kind of does have, at having to be stationary to do the majority of her damage. But she also does have a reasonable amount of checks in the game. Sky, Tyra, which is usually banned in the majority of your games. Rogos being probably one of the main ones. I thought Cassie was going to be more of a check to her, but if you're a good Jagaris, and she's running big game, she hits you with the knockback, and you just harden on the bonus damage until the bonus damage duration is done, and then you just go back to full health if you get a heal, or you just run her down. So I don't think Cassie is really as much of a check to Jagaris as I thought she was. If they're at least playing halfway decent, at least somewhat smart of a tank as a Jagaris. Some good pairings with her: Solar Beam Furia, Ripened Gourd, Maldamba. I think the only way you can really use her and make her work is as an off tank. Like, as a point tank, you need to run 2 supports. She takes that much healing and she takes that much resources from your team to make her work. Especially being stationary, she gets, like, all the damage in the game goes right to her until she's dead, usually. Like, if you want to run her as a solo point tank, you need to run 2 supports, otherwise you will not have enough healing. If you just throw her on a team with like a Genos or like something that really doesn't heal that well until they get Chronos, like a Grover or like a Grok, for some reason why you would be playing him, I don't know, but like any of those type of healers, and you just throw her on a team as a solo tank, you ain't going to be doing very well. I think she excels as an off tank, and having a point tank, something like a Barrack, something like like a Khan, like an Inara or something like that, just sit on the point the entire game and worry about the point while she goes and be annoying to their back line or runs down their support and just rolls around the map and makes a shitload of chaos. Like, that's what it comes down to. Like, if you want to pick her, you need to build a team around her to make her work. That means picking like Ripened Gourd, Maldamba, Solar Blessing, Furia, stuff like that. A good flank, a good DPS, depending on which one you want to go run down their healers or their backline. A solid point tank that can make space and contest the point mainly is what you're going to want, like a Barrack or something like that as well. Like, mainly you have to, at least support-wise, you have to build 100% around Jagaris if you plan on picking her. Don't get me wrong, she is still, like, ban-worthy. The majority of the games, you're probably going to be seeing her banned, even, like, the higher tiers, just because the higher tiers, I think, people know how to use her more and know how to build around her. But in your, like, general ranked games, at least right now, she's still a new champion. People don't know how to 100% build around her, don't know how to play around her and make her work. So I'm going to put her at an A+ right now. Maybe it'll change down the line. But I think I think Rom's even better than her right now. But I don't think she's bad, because when you actually do build around her and you can actually make her work with like 2 supports, or you pick like a dedicated support and build a team around her, she does destroy teams. So she's insanely good when you build around her. Apart from that, we're going to be getting into all the other champions that are already in the game. Have been in the game for a long time now. Those are the two main things that I wanted to talk about. Let's get this out of the way. Moji down to F tier. Going to be F tier every single time I do a tier list until she gets reworked into a support or she gets deleted from the game. And the reason being is because you pick Moji when you're a new player until around about level 10, and then you drop her for something else. She offers nothing to a team that any other flank or any other champion in the game can do better. She does nothing. That's why she's F tier. We work her into a support or delete her from the game. That's what it comes down to. Now we're going to get on to the champions that are actually in the game. Androxus, best flank in the game right now apart from Lex. There's no reason to pick any other flank over Androxus. You're doing what? 900 per headshot at close range, 500 per headshot at like medium range, and even then you're doing like 200 to 400 damage at like mid to long range. Insane mobility, an ult that really charges super quick if you're landing your shots consistently, and having the ability to auto cancel at any time, consistently saving your ult charge. Insane mobility, really good loadout cards. There is no other reason to pick anything over Androxus right now, at least flank-wise, apart from maybe Lex. And I say Andro's even better than Lex because he has better mobility. If Andro is not picked or banned in your games and at least know how to somewhat use him on average, at least an average Andro player, and you at least have somewhat decent aim, you pick Andro and you win the majority of your games. No reason to pick like 99% of the other flanks in the game because Andro is so good. If he's not picked or banned, you pick him and you just pick him over the other flanks because he does their job way better. That's what it comes down to. Ashe hasn't really changed from the last patch, so I'm not really going to talk about her very much. Just going to put her at an A+, mainly because she's still a solid off-tank. Nothing's really changed with her that much. Atlas. I think the one thing that's really holding Atlas back right now is there's just something about him that just makes him feel kind of shitty to play. I think if they want Atlas to be better, they need to give him some type of quality of life buff. I think what they need to do for this next patch, make it so his gun is able to hold a charge instead of when it reaches max charge, automatically firing for the 900 damage. Like, make it so you can hold a fully charged shot with his Chronos cannon. I think that would be a really cool quality of life change for Atlas. I think it would make him a lot better and a lot more, at least smooth to play, because I think he just feels insanely clunky to play for a majority of people, and that's why he's not really picked as much. I wouldn't say he's really bad, but I'm just going to move him down because there's a lot of other better options right now, a lot of easier to play options that you're going to get more value out of, at least for the general player. Barrack. I'm going to move Barrack up to an S because I just think, like, at least for off tanks, I think he's probably the most consistent off tank, or not off tank, point tank in the game. Even with the health revert that he got this patch, like, I still think he's insanely good. Like, if you have at least a somewhat decent healer that's constantly giving you heals the entire game, you do really solid amounts of damage. He's just everything you want out of a point tank right now. He's just really consistent. That's why I'm putting him at an S. Bomb King C tier. If you're on console, same boat as last time. You never see a good Bomb King by, like, all means, if you play an insane Bomb King, then go play him. But on console, it's really difficult to play him to his full effectiveness. Like, there's just so many better options, at least for Blaster. If this was PC, I'd probably put him like an S, but on console, C tier. Not because he's bad, but just because nobody knows how to fully play him or know how to play him at all. Bulk, I'm going to move to an A, just your average pick. The reason why you're not going to see him very more is because he has no mid to long range damage. You have to constantly be up on somebody to do your max damage and get value out of him. Apart from that, he does nothing the entire game. Especially if you're going against a team that has a lot of CC or a lot of heavy damage, and you're not able to close the gap and actually get up in people's face the entire game, and they prevent you from doing that, then you're kind of useless. That's his problem currently. Cassie, I'm going to move Cassie up to an A+. I think she has a bit of a niche now just because Jagaris is in the game and in ranks, but not really much has changed from her apart from the last patch, so I'm not really going to talk about her very much. Corvus. I think at least for healer-wise, I think he's still... I think he's really solid still. I'm going to put him on an S. I think, at least for the healers, I think he's still really solid. Really survivable. Really spammable ult. Does a shitload of damage for a support. Like, even after the nerfs, he's still really consistent. Does a really good job. Dredge, best blaster in the game. Not really much has changed from last patch. If anything, he's a bit better because Jagaris is in the game now and he just gets shits free damage all over Jagaris, especially because she has to sit stationary the majority of the game. Like, if anything, he's at least a little bit better. Not really much has changed with him though, so I'm not going to talk about him very much. Rogos. I'm going to move Rogos up to an S. I think Rogos right now is really solid, especially versus Jagaris. Even if they don't have a Jagaris, I think he can be really solid because a lot of his favorite maps are currently in the ranked rotation. Jaguar Falls, Splitstone, a lot of the maps that he does decent on right now are currently in the ranked rotation. Mainly though, the reason why I'm going to move him up is because I think he's best check in the game to Jagaris. And if you want a really solid, at least DPS-wise, check to Jagaris alone, then you pick Rogos, especially with the execute on his ult. Jagaris can't touch you in the air. You just get free damage on him the entire game, or on her the entire game. Really solid right now, not to mention he got a bit of a card buff about a patch or two ago, which made him a little bit better. Evie, not much has changed. Still going to be, was it? I actually think I had Bomb King in what, B tier? I think I had Bomb King big B tier. I don't think he's C tier worthy. Same thing as last patch. Nothing's really changed. The reason why she's B tier is because nobody on console can play her to max effectiveness. If it was PC, then maybe like an S tier, but on console, a good Evie that actually does something and doesn't feed a dime a dozen. That's the reason why. If you can play a good Evie on console, then by all means play her. She's not bad at all, but just because nobody can play her at all on console, that's why she's B tier. Fernando A+, just your consistent point tank. You can play him as an off tank, but I think he's definitely better as a point tank right now. Just really solid, really consistent, at least above average. Furia S, not really much has changed. If anything, she's got a bit better because she pairs really well with Jagaris, but apart from that, just overall really solid healer, really good heals, really good ult, does pretty good damage for a support. Overall, this is a really solid pick right now, at least for a support. Rock, C tier. I should not have to explain why Rock is C tier. If you guys want my full explanation, go watch my previous tier list for the last patch. Grover, I'm going to put Grover at an A. I think he's just average right now. Like, there's nothing about Grover that makes him above average. Like, his heals, until you get like Chronos 2 and Chronos 3 kind of lacking, and then at that point in the game, people also got cauterized, so you're kind of in the same boat. Like, if you just want a solid healer, I think like an average support, I think that's Grover right now. There's quite a few better options, and that's why I'm not really going to put him up very much higher. Monty S tier, one of the best damages in the game, probably the best damage champion in the game apart from Tyra. I'd probably put her at an S. Not really much from last patch has changed, apart from that she is still probably one of the best in the game, at least projectile-wise. Shouldn't really have to explain why she's so good, especially with the recent buffs she got last patch. Inara as a point tank, I'm gonna put her at an A+. I think I had actually an S last time. The reason why I'm gonna move her down is just because I feel like she just still lacks something. Like, the only thing she really does really well is contest point and have good point presence. Apart from that, she really doesn't do much. Like, compared to Barrack, you're able to run stuff down because you have at least a lot better damage. Like Inara, you're just kind of something that's there just to contest point and get objective time. And kind of just like a healing sponge. Like, apart from that, she rolls out an ult like once in a while that's able to secure kills, but apart from that, her damage kind of sucks. She has a cripple, yeah, but whatever. I think she's at above average point tank right now. Isle. At least healing-wise, I think Isle is still an A+ worthy. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Isle feels kind of shitty to play right now because I think Luna feels almost useless. Like, especially with the stun that's on a 30-second internal cooldown. Luna needs some type of buffs because they took away the ability to capture a point. Like, her, at least healing-wise, having the 15% DR on Goddess Blessing still hasn't changed at all. She still does insane amounts of healing, same as before. but she just kind of feels a little bit worse to play and kind of garbage to play right now, just because Luna feels pretty much useless. Like, you'll throw Luna out and she'll get a stun, and then she just sits there and does nothing the entire, like, half the point fight. Like, Luna feels garbage. Like, that's the problem with Io right now. She just kind of feels garbage to play because Luna is just a part of her kit that really doesn't do much. I think if they want to look into buffing Io this couple patches, you need to look at Luna again and reduce the internal cooldown on a stun down to like 10 seconds. I think that's what the next step of attack for her is. Believe it or not, I think she still has like top 3 win rates in the game still. So she's not really doing bad. She just feels kind of shitty to play ever since Luna got reworked. Genos A+. Luminary got nerfed down from 15 down to 10%. Like, I don't know. I think she's A+ worthy. I don't think he's as good as he used to be. I really don't. I think you can actually even get away with rank binary star now, like a lot of the times. Luminary is to the point where you really don't even need it. 10% damage amp is eh. It's the point where you really don't need it. It's not like a must anymore. Like, I don't know. He's supposed to also be getting reworked in the near future, at least what they say. I don't know if that's true or not, at least from what I've heard, but there's plans to get him reworked in the future, so that's what it comes down to. I don't think he's S-worthy just because his heals are kind of shit. It comes down to if you can land your alts, get consistent picks with your alt, and just kind of help your team out. That's kind of what it comes down to. And it's survivability. That's what you kind of pick him for. Really difficult to lock down. Apart from that, his heals are trash. Like, if you want to heal this for healing, then he's garbage. Con. I think I had Con at a B last time. I'll put Con at an A just to be generous because I don't think he's absolutely garbage useless. The reason why you're going to be seeing Con in a lot of your ranked games is because he's extremely easy to play and a lot of people know how to play him. That's the only reason why. I wouldn't say he's really good. The only reason why people really play him and you're going to see him in a lot of games is because he's easy to play and you get decent amount of value out of playing him. Like, I think he's still kind of bad. He has 3 useless talents. Like, I don't know. You can't really get worse as a tank, well, at least talent-wise, than Con. Like, going forward, he needs all his talents reworked. Bring back Firing Line and in, like, a nerfed state, and rework the other 2 talents, because right now he has 3 talents that are absolutely fucking useless. Nessa, if she was better than on, like, I think if she was better on than, like, 2 maps, then I'd probably put her, like, an S-worthy, but you're only going to be seeing on her, like, 2, maybe 3 maps. Same thing with Strix. I might as well put Strix there as well right now. Same thing. They're both about the same now. So, just whatever one you want to play and whatever team, whatever one you want to play more, that they're kind of both the same right now, at least. As snipers, I think. Like I said, if they were good on, like, every map, then I'd probably put them at, like, an S or an SS, but they're only good on, like, maybe 3, 4 maps, if that. Koga, A+. The problem with Koga right now is he struggles versus tanks. Jagaris being addition to ranked now makes him struggle even more. I think Koga right now needs all of his talents reworked. I think what they need to do going forward is they need to rework all of his talents. Get rid of Adrenaline Junkie and put a watered-down version of Adrenaline Junkie into his base kit and rework all of his talents. Dragon Fangs, rework that into something like where your Dragon Fangs like do less damage, but they no longer take health or energy, or something like that. Like, that's just one good idea. Blood Reaper's garbage. Adrenaline Junkie is the only thing you're really ever going to be playing like 99.9% of your games. Like, just take it away and put in like a watered down version into his base kit and give us like 3 new talents. Like, come on. That's what he's really suffering from, like, right now. And ever since his damage got nerfed, like, close to mid-range, and it got reduced, I think, by, like, 5 damage or whatever per bullet. I think he really struggles. Especially versus, like, the bulky tanks like Rom, Jagaris being addition now into ranked. Not really as good for him. I don't think he's really bad, but I don't know. Like, he's not really bad. Like, he used to be, like, ban-worthy, like, must-pick ban-worthy. Not really anymore. Lex, second best flank in the game. Going to be getting banned or picked 95% of your ranked games. With Discovery and your Retribution target, there's a card that actually gives him 50% lifesteal if he's shooting at his Retribution target. You're getting back, like, I think, like 400 damage per shot, Even with Cauterize, you're getting like 250 health back per bullet. Like, even if you don't run Death's Hastens, you're doing so much damage with Discovery. If you're just constantly going after people and marking the people and going after them, you're doing so much damage, you get so much health back. They reworked his magnums now to the point where it's auto fire instead of having to push the button every time to fire. So you just hold down your trigger on your controller and you just automatically fire now. Huge buff. They also got rid of a bunch of screen shake when he was firing his guns. Huge quality of life buff. Broken. He's broken. He does way too much damage, way too much self-sustain. Nerf some of his loadout cards. Nerf his overall damage. Nerf Discovery. Broken. Absolutely broken. Which is funny because his mobility is still kind of trash, but he just does so much damage and he almost instantly deletes people if you're in sight and you're marked as his target anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Leon. A tier. Average. What's holding Leon right now back is ever since she got her DR, her damage immunity from her all taken away from her, she's slowly been on decline. She struggles versus bulky tanks. The only thing she has going for her is burst damage, being able to burst down squishies in a relatively fast fashion. If you just want like a consistent damage dealer, Leon is not that damage champion. You pick her for quick bursts of damage and bursting down squishies, not for going after like 1,000 health or like 10,000 health tanks. Like, come on. Even with precision, she's garbage. I wouldn't say she's garbage. She's just average. I don't think she's above average. I think she needs some type of damage buffs because her damage right now is just extremely lacking. 400 per bullet, especially when she only has 8 in her base clip. I think it's like 6 or 8 or whatever it is. She needs a damage buff. Buff her base damage up to like 420 or 450, and then we'll go from there. Maeve. A+. The reason why I'm not going to put Maeve higher is just because she lacks viable talents. And there's no reason to pick her over like Lex or Andro, like honestly. Like if Lex or Andro are banned, then by all means pick anything from like S or A+ tier, but if Andro or Lex are available, I'm going to 100% be picking them over Maeve any day. She lacks viable talents. The only talent that she actually has that's decent is Rogue's Gambit. Was it Cat Burglar? Not Rogue's Gambit, Cat Burglar, where you get the bonus damage. Apart from that, she needs both of her other talents reworked. Rogue's Gambit needs to be reworked, and then whatever her other talent is needs to be reworked. She only has one viable talent. Like, if you're an absolute Maeve god and you land 100% of your daggers and you like champions that have like hyper mobility and insane amounts of mobility and flanks and like damage champions like that, then Maeve is the pick for you. But at least right now, at least with Andro and Lex being in the game, there's just no reason to pick like Maeve over both of those. I can't put her higher than A+. I'm sorry, even though I love Maeve. Koga A+. Average off tank, average point tank. Nothing's really changed. Like that's what it comes down to. Nothing's really changed with them. Damba, I'm actually gonna put Damba at an A+. I think Damba right now can actually be really solid, especially with Ripened Gourd. You're healing for so much damage, and it's really easy to do. You get a lot of value out of just not really doing much. Throwing down a Gourd and a huge AoE, which takes up pretty much the entire point, and just building a team that just contests the point and plays around the point. I think he fits in that comp perfectly right now. Especially with Jagaris being into the game, he pairs extremely well with Jagaris and Ripened Gourd. Able to keep Jagaris, and one of the only supports in the game that actually can keep Jagaris 100% sustained apart from Furia, even with COT 3. Ready win over Moji. We got Pip. C tier. It's getting to the point where I think he got a small buff recently as well, where Mega Potion got increased to 115%. Like, he needs an entire rework. I get to the point where if they don't want to do anything, we'll just rework his entire kit. Like, keep the alt and then just rework everything else. Like, if they want to make him better, why don't they just give him like a faster projectile speed from his potion launcher and give him more potion ammo? Like, increase from 6 up to like 10. I think that would be a good step in the right direction. I think it really would. Otherwise, he's kind of just useless. Even as like a damage with Catalyst, like, he's garbage. No reason to play him over like a lot of the other blasters like Rogos or Dredge. Rom, S tier, being able to just spam balls, run around the map, especially if you have a team in a solid point tank that's able to contest point while you just go play an insanely beefy off tank that just causes shitload of disruption and annoys the shit out of the enemy team, chasing down squishies, running down the supports. He does everything perfectly well. S tier, definitely. I think he's really solid currently still. Ruckus. B tier, nothing has changed. Just the same old Ruckus that doesn't really do anything apart from a few niche situations. Ceres, S tier. Last patch hasn't really changed anything from last patch. If you guys want a more in-depth explanation on Ceres, check out my last patch tier list. Shaolin. Would be better on PC, the same boat as Bomb King and Evie. Like, nobody plays him on console. Like, if you have 100% aim and you know how to, like, 100% play Shaolin to max effectiveness, and you know how ins and outs of Shaolin on console, and you play the shit out of him, then go, by all means, pick him up in ranked, but this ain't PC. If it was on PC, then I'd probably put him like an A+ or something, but it's console, you never see him. I think I've seen like 3 Shaolins in my entirety of playing ranked so far for Season 4. That's how little he's picked on console. Skye, I'm gonna put Skye at an S. I think Skye is really solid right now. I think she really is, especially with Jagaris being introduced to the game. I think that makes her even better. You're gonna be seeing a Skye in a lot of your mid-tier ranked games, even up to your higher tiers. I think she's just really solid, especially having the ability to give utility to your team with the smoke cloud and being able to heal and like play like an off support, like damage hybrid type flank with one of your DPS or with your support or whoever you want to play with. Gives her a lot of utility. I think that makes her really good. I know there's going to be some people that shit on me putting her at S, but I think she really right now is truly an S tier pick. I don't think she's ban worthy, but I think she really is prioritized, at least with that aspect. Talis. Yeah, about that. I want to put him lower than A, but I can't put him lower than A because I don't think he's as bad as anybody in the B tier. Like, I'll put him at an A. Like, do not pick Talis in any of your ranked games unless you're playing like in gold. If you're like a gold tier player, then by all means pick him because he can pub stomp in like gold tier. But if you're going like above plat and beyond, he's garbage. Never ban him. Never pick him over any of the other flanks that are above him in this list. Especially over an Andro or a Lex if they somehow get through bans or picks and they make it to you. Never, ever. If that's the case, then and you let that happen and you pick Talis over any other flanks above him in this list, then you're legit trolling. Terminus SS, same boat as last time. Unkillable, just run shit down. He's the same thing as last time. That's what it comes down to. Tiberius. Like, I think Tiberius right now can be really solid. I really do. I'm going to put him at A+. I think Tiberius is a solid A+. If you're one of those people that thinks Tiberius needs to be, like, soft reworked or, like, entirely reworked, please reevaluate what you're trying to say and what you're thinking about, because especially when there's champions in the game like Rock and Moji, why would Tiberius ever need a rework over those two champions? Like, I don't know, I've seen multiple people like that are like big YouTubers or like pro players saying like Tiberius needs like a rework or something. Like, come on, bro. The only thing Tiberius needs is quality of life changes on his movement ability, his leap. And his leap was a talent to be entirely reworked to something else. It's garbage. He has 1, maybe 2 viable talents. Apart from that, it's garbage. Torv. Got nerfed again. Wrecker got buffed. He got nerfed. Like, I don't see any way you can actually make Torv actually work. The guy is legit useless, even without Wrecker. Like, his shield is so, like, does nothing now. It's such a low amount of health now that he actually is able to give. Even with Thanks Grandpa now, that there's just no point in using him at all. People are saying that they want Tiberius entirely reworked, when the only thing he maybe really needs is a little bit of a few extra charges on his ults or some quality of life buffs to his leap. But then there's things in the game like Torvald that needs an entire rework, Moji that needs an entire rework, Grok that needs an entire rework. Like, come on, bro. I think one of the other top candidates, apart from Moji and Grok, that needs an entire rework is Torvald. Guy is absolutely useless. He's not a tank. He's not a support. He's not a damage. He's not a flank. He's just there. He doesn't fit anywhere. What does he do after the first point? Yeah, you have a 300, 400 health shield now with Thanks Grandpa out of spawn. Apart from that, even without Wrecker, like, stuff just, like, with one hit, one hit from most things, any DPS, and even, like, almost any tank gets rid of your shield. Now, like, come on. It's to the point where you don't really need to buy a Wrecker unless they have, like, 2 things on their team with, like, shield. If it's just a Torvald with a shield and they have something else that doesn't have a shield, you don't even need to buy a Wrecker anymore. That's how bad he is. Like, before, okay, maybe you need to buy a Wrecker just so you can knock through his bubbles and knock through his personal shield. Like, now it's to the point where you just don't even need to buy a Wrecker. He's that garbage. Needs an entire rework. And the reason why I'm not putting him lower is he can work with certain teams, but you have to absolutely steamroll games. If the game goes longer than 10 minutes, he's absolute garbage and he does nothing. That's what it comes down to. He can still work in very niche situations, so that's why I'm putting him at a B instead of a C or an F tier. But that's what it comes down to. Apart from talking about Torvald, next one, Tyra. Tyra right now, probably the best hit scan in the game. Nothing has really changed with her from last patch. She does everything you want from a hit scan. Able to box close with flanks, stuff up close because she has insane amounts of DR. Burn monster that legit destroys tanks, like anything that's able to get caught on it gets destroyed. Like, I don't know. Like, everything you want on a Tyra. The only thing she does not have is mobility and, like, insane long range poke. Like, even then you have nades that have no damage fall off if you can land them at, like, long range. And she has 15% lifesteal at base, so she even has self-sustain even though she doesn't have mobility. So, I think if they want to nerf her this next coming patches, I think she does need some type of nerf because there's just no drawback not picking her over, like, any of the other hit scans right now. She's going to either be picked or banned in the majority of your games. If she's not picked for some reason or not banned, then by all means pick her up over any of the other hit scans that are in the game currently. Like, if they want to nerf her, remove the cripple from Burn Monster, just give it the damage boost, and then nerf some of her loadout cards. Nerf the DR on her nade loadout cards, nerf the health sustain on some of her nade loadout cards. I think that would be a good step in the right direction to bring her back to at least somewhat in line with a lot of the other hit scans. Moving Victor to an S. If Tyra's banned or picked, the next hit scan in line is probably Victor. If you don't want to play Amani for some reason, I don't know why you wouldn't, but next hit scan in line would be Victor. So, just everything you want out of hit scan. Okay mobility, being able to just run around the map. Long range poke damage, probably one of the best talents in the game, at least for him. Burst mode still insanely good. Having the long mid-range poke doing insane damage, not even counting headshots. Really solid sustain with built-in lifesteal with loadout cards. Also has DR, he has a burst damage you can throw around corners with this grenade. Really solid. Vivian, A+. You guys see a theme here. Talis goes from being nerfed into the ground when he was at, like, mid-season 3, a must-pick, must-ban in most of your games. Same with Vivian, to being nerfed into the ground, now being at an A-tier pick. I think Vivian right now is probably the lowest she's been in a long time, guys. She is dog shit. She is bad. The only times you're ever going to be picking her is when you're playing in your gold tier games or you want to rank up quick and you want to get to, like, platinum, mid-platinum games and rank up to that round at that point. She gets dove extremely easy. Her survivability is almost nothing now. They nerfed her opportunity in chaos, so now her damage is not even in line with a lot of the other hit scans in the game. There's just so many better options right now, apart from over her. Like, I don't know. Never ban her, never first pick her. If you want to somehow pick her as like a last pick, then by all means do it, because there's no shame in that. But if you lose games, it's probably because you're picking Vivian over a lot of the other hit scans or any other DPS that are higher in this list or in the game. Vora. I don't know, I feel like Vora's just lacking something. Like, over a lot of the other flanks, I feel like she's just lacking something. I don't know what it is. I don't think she's A+ or like A worthy. I still think she can be really good. I feel like she just needs something though. Like, there's something holding Vora back from making her at least a lot better. Whether it's quality of life changes, whether it's having some of her talents buffed or reworked, I think the one thing that's really holding her back is because her mobility is absolute garbage. Still bugged, still doesn't proc on the stuff you want to proc on the environment. Half the time you hit something on the environment and it's supposed to pull you and actually pull you into the air. You'll hit something and it'll put you on cooldown, but you won't get the Vine proc. It won't do anything. She's still bugged. Her ult's still extremely clunky to use. Like, even if somebody steals your kill during your ult before you have your swing animation that goes fully through, your ult 100% gets deleted. You use all your ultimate charge, even if your kill gets stolen from you during your ult. So, I think she just needs some quality of life changes in these next couple patches to make her a little bit easier and a little bit less clunky to play, and some huge bug fixes. High res, I don't know if you can hear me, high res. Huge bug fixes for Vora to make her at least somewhat better, but I think she's not really bad right now. If you can play a somewhat good Vora, I think she can do somewhat great in rank. The one thing she does really well is really solid mid to long range poke damage. I think that's what she has over a lot of the other flanks apart from like Maeve. Really solid damage. I think she has probably some of the best damage in the game, at least consistent damage, apart from like Andro and like a lot of the other better flanks, but I think I'm gonna put her at an A+. I think she's still really solid. Apart from being bugged and having needed some quality of life changes. Willow, garbage. Putting her at a B just because she has one niche, and that is if you're going against a team that has two healers that are consistently healing, like two tanks. If you're going against a comp that has something like a Vora, or not a Vora, Jagaris, Barrack, or like Rom Jagaris, or like two tanks and like two healers, then maybe you'll pick Willow just so you can throw the dead zone out and negate all the heals. And they have two healers like a Fury or like a Ceres or like a Corvus Ceres or something like that, or they have like insane amounts of heals. Then pick the Willow. That's the only time you're ever going to be picking her. Apart from that, she is garbage. Her damage sucks. She gets dove by almost everything. Her ultimate sucks. Like, you get hooked on the environment so many times, even if you're in the sky, you get the skybox. The skybox on a lot of the maps is so damn low to the point where you're able to just get knocked out of the sky by pretty much anything. Even stuff that shouldn't be able to even hit you, you get killed by. She's garbage. Her mobility's trash. She gets dove by pretty much everything. She gets ran down by almost all tanks in the game, even like Inara and all those other tanks that move like a snail. Like, she's garbage. And you don't do any damage unless you pick Blast Flower. And even then, your damage is trash unless you hit something like over like 3 times. And somebody letting you hit them 3 times is really rare if they're a good player. Or at least have somewhat of a brain. And they just ain't standing or spinning around in the same spot. Ying. I think Ying can be really solid right now. I'm going to put Ying at an S. I'm actually going to move her up because I think she can be a little bit more solid. I think she has the potential to be really good if you pick Life Exchange. If you're picking damaging, then don't even pick Ying. You're just throwing. You're trolling. If you pick Life Exchange and you're healing your team consistently, you have really solid ults, you're able to build your ult real quick, and you put out insane amounts of heals. I think she can be really solid right now. Apart from that, if you're just going to run her as like a damage or a Renaissance Ying, I'd move her down to like an A. Or even like an A+. But mainly for Life Exchanging, I think is really solid right now. Gonna put her at an S, just for Life Exchange alone. and having a really spammable ult just because your ult charge is insanely fast. And last but not least, we got Xin. I'm gonna put Xin in an S. Like I can't. I want to put him lower, but I can't. Like having an instant execute with his guillotine and just having 3 viable talents as a flank makes him so much better than a lot of the other flanks. Like if Andro and Lex are picked, then your other 2 options are either Skye, in my honest opinion, or Xin. I'd probably pick Xin over Skye the majority of the times, just because I think he's a little bit more survivable. And you don't want to play any other flanks in A tier. I think that's what it currently comes down to. 3 viable talents that are all have some type of use. Yomi being my favorite, but I think Guillotine's probably one of the best talents in the game, if not the entire game. Being able to pretty much instant execute and get an instant pick on any tank in the game without them killing you, and setting it up in the right way is pretty much game breaking for any point or any point fight. Like I think he's also confirmed to be getting some type of nerf in the near future as well, probably this next patch. I think that's what they said. So I don't know why they would nerf him. I don't think he's as broken as like Andro or Lex, but I guess he's going to be getting some type of talent nerfs these next couple patches. When that's going to ever be, I don't know. But play him right now. I think he's really solid. If Andro or Lex are picked, I think Xin is definitely a top 3 right now, at least for flanks. So if you really want a solid flank, I think Xin definitely the one. I think the only thing he really lacks is vertical mobility, but even then you have your ult. You can go up into the air with your ult and get to high ground it that way if it comes down to it. So just everything you really want out of a flank as well. I think he's just really good. Really survivable if you play him well enough. Really good. Really solid right now. And that's the list, guys. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you guys agree with me on everything? If there's stuff that I forgot to explain or did not explain well enough. If there's some stuff that I did not really talk about in this video, I probably talked about it more in depth in the last tier list that I did for the last patch. So if you guys want to go check that out, I will have a link to that on the screen towards the end of this video if you guys want to check it out. If this is your first time viewing my channel and you guys made it to the end, please subscribe down below. I really would appreciate it. Like for some reason, like 95% of the new people that usually find these lists aren't subscribed. So if like 90% of those people at least just hit the subscribe button, we'd probably be like 1,000 subscribers by now. That would mean the world to me and it'd be insane. Leave a like on the video, share the video, really helps me out. Let's see if we get this video to 25 likes within the first 72 hours. I really appreciate all the support, guys. Remember, I do stream at least 2 to 3 times a week, usually Friday, Saturday nights, and sometimes on Wednesday nights. And I do upload at least 2 to 3 times a week as well. So if that interests you, if you guys like Smite, Apex Legends, Overwatch content, mainly Paladins content from a veteran player and that knows what he's talking about in the game and gives you guys some really solid ranked videos, stuff like that, guides. You guys like that type of content, please subscribe. It really means the world to me. So hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate everything. So if you guys made it this far, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys made it this far, let me know in the comments down below with hashtag all the way to the end. That'd be really cool. Just so I know how many people actually watch the entire video. That'd be really cool. Hope you guys enjoy it. See you guys in a future video, and thanks for stopping by.